I'm here in Marco Island, Florida. It's on the Gulf Coast, way on the south end of Florida. I thought it'd be fun to show you around a little bit, take a walk along the beach, and see what else we can find on the island. And here is beautiful Marco Island. There in the distance, you can see some of the 10,000 islands. Very pretty part of Florida. And there's a little bit of the south end of the island. It's a really nice perspective. You can see a little bit of the 10,000 islands off to the left. And if we pan over, you can see the beach and the Gulf looking out. So here I am at the beach on Marco Island. It's really a nice beach. As you get more down to the south side where I'm standing right now, the south end of the beach is far less populated because it's more of the private condos. We're going to take a walk down the beach. This beach has a tendency to have a lot of shells. It's a very shelly beach. I'll walk down to the water in a little bit. We'll take a look at some of the shells. And as a result, the groomer comes by in the morning and makes sure that the sand is real smooth. And it's really nice now. It's very, very soft and sandy. So let's turn this around and take a look at all of the buildings. Some of them are hotels. The Marriott Hotel is down this way, and some of them are private residences. You can see there's lots and lots of shells. Many of these are broken, but you can find a lot of whole shells. Sometimes in the morning, see a lot of dolphins out there frolicking around, playing in the water. So they don't usually come around in the afternoon. So I'm going to see if tomorrow morning I'll come down and perhaps we will see some of the dolphins. Early April as I film this, a lot of people are already going home for the season. Many of the people who live down here are retirees, they're the snowbirds. So they head out early, and yet it's not too incredibly hot yet. It's a pretty nice time of the year. So I would say this would be a wonderful time to come down and visit Marco Island. The yellow building behind me has a pretty good restaurant called the Sunset Grill. This part of Marco, the beach, faces the Gulf. So beautiful sunsets at night. So the Sunset Grill is very aptly named. I ate there last night. It has really good food. It's one of my favorite places on the island. So if you ever get to Marco, I'd recommend stopping in at the Sunset Grill. You can get to it either from the beach, or they have a parking lot on the backside if you just want to drive over. Like a lot of beaches, there are some areas that they need to protect. So you can see here, vegetation area. You have to stay off of these areas. So they do have some bridges that go across that can get you from the city side where the streets are over to the beach. Most of these are private. Most of these are owned by the folks who live in these condos. But there are some bridges, there is some public access to the beach. The beach does end down at the south end, and a lot of the good shells can be found down in this end of the beach. Piece of coral and sponge. And here's the sponge, and other things will wash up on the beach here. Find some weird stuff. I don't know what that is. some kind of coral or a sponge or a plant of some sort that washed up. Really interesting if you take a look at these rocks. There's a lot of shells and stuff embedded in this. So it's just interesting to look at a lot of that as well. Conch shell. Another little shell kind of embedded against it. Another conch shell I found. Oh, that one's still alive. I'm going to have to put this back. You can see there's someone alive in there. So we're going to put this one. Someone's flying a kite. He had that kite way up there. It's a pretty breezy day here on the beach. He had that kite way up there. Then it came down. So let's see if we can get it up again. There it goes. And it crashes. That was kind of a rough place for that kite to crash. You saw that area is protected back there, and I can see they're trying to figure out how are we going to get our kite without going into that protected area. It's full of bushes and brush, and I'm sure if they just try to tug it out by the string, either the string will break or it'll destroy their kite. And behind me are some of those protected grass areas. You just can't go in there. Really is a beautiful beach. Because of the limited access, you can see it's not really crowded, but yet it's not so empty that you feel isolated. It's a pretty nice beach. There's several restaurants, places to get drinks and food to eat along the beach. I'd recommend if anyone's in South Florida, way south, Marco is one of the last things you hit before you just get into the Everglades. I'd stop in for an afternoon. It's a really nice place. So here's Esplanade. There's a lot of shops and restaurants here. So here's a restaurant at the Esplanade in Marco Island called CJ's on the Bay. It's a place I like to stop to. It's casual. You can get a drink, get some hors d'oeuvres, or a sandwich. One of the things I like about coming here to the Esplanade, CJ's, is the marina. There are wonderful boats here. I wish I could afford one of these. They're beautiful boats, but they're fun to look at nevertheless. I'm seated here at CJ's. I'm going to order a drink. We got a little dog behind me, and then we might get something to eat. Chef Special sounds kind of interesting. Maybe I'll give that a try. Looks like a pretty good dinner. It's a Chef Special, so we'll find out. Well, dinner was really good. Always order the special. You know, they can do a good job with it. So what you see behind me is kind of the walking mall. It's going to take me back to my car. So I'll take a little walking trip with you as I stroll back to the car. Well, it's nice just strolling. Take a look at the shops. There's some art galleries, some restaurants, some kind of touristy places. There's even a, I guess this is a realtor. You look at some of the fancy homes that are here on the island. There's the ice cream shop across the way. I should probably stay away from it. It'll make me fat. So there's a Gopher Tortoise crossing. They're all over the place here. And you can see that's the kind of land they like, is that more dry land. And they dig holes, and they actually are pretty fast. They move pretty quick. Whoever said that a tortoise in the hair, the tortoise moves slowly, they move pretty quickly. So there he is. Right there is the tortoise. He won't like me following him. But we'll see. He'll run into a hole probably. There he is. He's on the move. Hey, tortoise. Where are you, boy? Yeah, he doesn't like me being here. They're protected. So he'll probably go in his hole pretty soon. Here's his hole right there. He's going for it. Hi, tortoise. Boy, he's let me get pretty close. I'm kind of surprised. There he goes. He's running away from me. I don't want to bother him. They're protected. There's another one. I don't know if you can see him. He's on the run. Right there. He sees me coming. He's trying to get away from me. I'm not going to bother him. He's hightailing it out of here. Cruising across the field. Here's Caxambas Park. It's a boat launch. I like to come here sometimes. You see the pelicans and people are fishing. Let's take a walk around. They don't want you to feed the pelicans. I don't see any pelicans around right now. Maybe it's a little too late in the day. But oftentimes the pelicans will be right on these docks, sitting on the posts. They're fun to look at. So just kind of a lazy day. The meal was really good. I'm glad I went to CJ's at the Esplanade. That fish was just perfect. So we had a nice day. We got to see some of the Gopher Tortoises. Got to come down, look at the water. There weren't any pelicans here, but it was fun just the same. Got to walk along the beach. Overall, it was a really nice day. So that brings my micro tour of Marco Island, Florida to a close. I know it wasn't much, but at least it was a little something, maybe enough to whet your appetite and make you want to explore Marco Island a little more. I'm Mark. Thanks for joining me.